aware about the concerned thing. That is the main work of a research paper. So a research paper is a written document that we need to write something on the plain paper, or we can say in the form in the soft form, that present the result of original study or investigation conducted by you, conducted the research, what you found and why it matters, it in a clear, structured and scholarly way. So that means a research paper. So what is the purpose of this research paper? To share a new knowledge or discoveries with the academic community. That means instead of keeping the knowledge with you only, you have to share that knowledge and the discoveries with the academic community, with the industrialists, with the students, so that they can also aware about that particular knowledge. They can also work on the knowledge whatever you are having, and again they are working on that and they will find out something else. That means a research paper. That is one of the purpose. Second is to demonstrate the critical thinking, analysis and synthesis of ideas. That is one more very important thing, that the research paper will demonstrate your critical thinking, that whenever we write the paper, so we need to think very critically. We have to point out, we have to concentrate on each and every point, we have to analyze the particular problem, we have to analyze the particular thing in a such a way that you will get a correct output, you will get the correct results and synthesizes of ideas. It means that you mean to say that that particular idea should be publicly open to us so that the people can work on that, right? The third point is to support future research by providing the references and the data. So to support for the future research, it means that suppose if you have published a research paper on suppose say XYZ journals, you have published a paper, and your paper is read out by some student, some academician, some industry person. So what that person will do, that person will add your paper as a reference. The person should add your paper as a reference in his actually what we can say in his own research paper, right? So many times the researcher will take the references of some other different paper which are already been published on the various journals, or published maybe or maybe paper published through the various conferences, right? So the student or the research scholar may use your data as a reference in their own paper. So these are the different purposes of the research paper. Then last one is to solve the real world problem through the evidences based approach. Many times what happens, the real world problem, so that as we are when we write a research paper, so we are writing the paper for some problems, some identified gaps, some identified the problems. We are going to write a paper through evidences based approaches. That means we require some sort of evidences to write a paper, because without any approaches we can't write any sort of papers, right? So while writing the papers we required some sort of a real world problem, we required some sort of a data which is in the form of evidences actually. Then talking about a research, there are mainly two types of research when we categorize into two. The very first is the review paper and the second one is empirical paper. As the many of the participant in this FDP, they are already aware about the types of paper, but once again I'll explain you. So many of them are new as well, right? So basically when we classified the research paper, so there are two types of research paper. One is review paper and another one is a empirical paper. Now a review paper means what? A review paper, it is also called as a survey paper, study paper or comparative paper, where only study required. So just I want to take one example. Review, suppose I want to buy a mobile phone from the market. So what I'll do, I'll do the market survey. I'll visit Amazon, I'll visit the Flipkart website, I'll visit the different website, I visit the mobile shops as well, and I'll just do the survey with respect to the parameters which I have been set for me. That means it may be of the price of mobile phones, it may be of features of mobile phones, it may be of suppose for example some drawbacks of the various models, right? Or the companies that we can also specify, that is one of the model, because some of the person or some of the people would require or interested only the some specific companies phone, like suppose some of them are only interested for buying the Samsung phone, some of them are interested to buy a suppose a Nokia phone, and it at extra. So that means review means just we need to do a survey first, and after doing the survey we came with the conclusion, yes, that particular phone is good for me as far as my parameters were concerned, my parameters are concerned, so that particular XYZ phone is good. So while taking your conclusion, at last you have gone through the different mobile phones, through a different mobile shop, through a different e-commerce websites, right? So same thing happened with the research paper in terms of what we can say as far as the review paper is concerned. So you have to gone through all of these things. So while working on review paper, you have to do the survey, you have to do the study, you have to do the comparative analysis, right? So if we see the definition of this, so we need to define it to summarize, analyze and synthesize existing research on a particular topic, right? So while working on a review paper, so you required the different papers that you need to study first. You need to summarize the different paper in such a way that you need to find some sort of a conclusion. You have to analyze the paper, you need to do the synthesizing on the particular existing research paper, right? So basically under the review paper, you just have to describe the things in your own words by referring the other papers too. So that is a very much important. Then the basically the purpose of the review paper or the comparative paper is to provide a comprehensive understanding of current knowledge, trends and the research gap. It means that under the review paper, it is just a study paper, it is just what we can say, it is a comparative paper where we can compare the different papers and will form the conclusion, and that there is an that what we can say, the XYZ paper has concentrated on this particular technology, or they have used some sort of algorithms, but at the another side where the another person has used the same paper, he used the same title or the problem statement while working on the different algorithms, right? So that may be happen because one particular topic is taken by a different researcher, taken by the different persons for writing the same thing, but in a different manner. Suppose if I'm working on a machine learning algorithm and where I'm using the random forest algorithm, some of them are using neo bias, some of them are using suppose ensemble learning, right? So even though the topics are same, but the people are working with the different algorithms, and they will make their own conclusion, they will find their own conclusion as well as with the results. Yes, I have used this particular algorithm, so I got this type of a result, right? So it totally depend on the person which topic he or she may be selecting for the research work, and what the particular person needs to add the different paper into that, right? So the review, under the review category, it is just a study paper where the user can summarize the different paper into their own in the form of what we can say, in the form of comparative study, in the form of say survey paper, and or in the form of say suppose theoretical study. Just considering an example, suppose a comparative review on a machine learning technique for crop yield predictions. Suppose just take an example. Suppose I'm writing a paper on the crop yield predictions where I'm going to use the machine learning technique. So while working on machine learning technique, there are different types of machine learning techniques, right? Someone can use supervised, someone can use unsupervised learning, someone can use the different algorithms as well, right? So while working on this, there are different kinds of algorithms. So we need to study, or we need to do the comparative analysis of a different machine learning algorithms, and after that we need to come up with the conclusion, yes, this particular machine learning algorithm is good for the crop yield predictions, and so on. So likewise we need to write a review paper. Now talking about the empirical paper, when we talked about the review paper doesn't require your actual results, right? The review paper require the expected results. When we write a paper, so what we are going to expect, that we need to write under the review paper, right? But when it comes to the actual results, when it comes to the actual implementation of the particular things, it comes under the empirical research. So basically what it means, the empirical research. So empirical research is based on the implementation of the result oriented. The definition of this empirical research is the reports original research or experiments conducted by the author. If any author written one research paper that come up with the results. That particular person, that particular researcher has done sort of a implementation, has done some sort of a practical implementation or result, or what we can say, after implementation or after execution of the particular things, the particular researcher or the particular person got the results in the form of output. So it means that empirical paper or implementation based paper always have some sort of a result. So wherever results there, so that means if the paper contains the result, it means that that result shows that particular author has implemented something, the particular author has gone through the different and experimental analysis or experimental implementation, and then he got some sort of a results. So after that, it includes the methodology, it includes the data collection, results, and the discussions. The purpose of this empirical research is to present the new findings or validate a hypothesis. It means that whenever we have implemented something, so once you implement something, so you will get some sort of a results. You are getting some sort of a results. It means that you have find out something. It means that you got some sort of a result in the form of outcomes actually. For example, performance analysis of IoT based smart irrigation system using soil moisture sensor. So in this we are going to analyze the performance where the IoT based smart irrigation system using soil moisture sensor. So suppose if I am writing the paper on IoT based smart irrigation system where I am going to use the moisture, where I am going to use the soil moisture sensor. So what is the performance of soil moisture sensor? What is the results? Right? What parameters it is required to identify the moisture level of the soils? So there are different ways, and there are different analysis based on the different methodologies and algorithms are used for this particular paper. So it means that this paper will gives you a results, right? And whenever the paper shows or whenever paper includes the results, it means that that paper comes under the empirical research paper. Say for example, take one more example. Suppose if I'm writing a paper for what we can say for detecting or uh, preserving the security of data, right, or enhancing the security of data with respect to blockchain, or just we'll take the another example, just uh, uh, detection of breast cancer, or we can say detection of uh, uh, detection of what we can say, suppose say brain tumors, right? There are a lot many examples are there that we can use, uh, that comes under the empirical analysis, because where detection prevention word comes, it means that there are some analysis, there are some result oriented things would be there, implementation things would be there, so that that particular implementation or what we can say, that whatever algorithms you are applying, it will provide some sort of a results, right? So that comes under the performance analysis actually, that comes under the empirical analysis actually. So empirical means that result oriented paper, and your review paper is based on the study only. So that is a major difference between the review paper and the empirical paper. Review paper, it is based on the study. Empirical paper is based on your results actually, where you can specify exclusively mention your findings, what you have find out by going through different what we can say implementation or implications on by using the different algorithms and technologies. I hope I have clear with review paper and empirical papers, right? Now, what are the different 5 steps for the research publications? When we talked about the research publication, so every user need to think for this 5 step. The very first and foremost, the very first step is identify the research area. So while working on any area, so you need to first identify the area. That means on which particular area I need to do the search, I need to do the research actually. So you have to identify the area. Suppose say for example, I have selected cloud computing. So cloud computing is one of the area where I want to do the research, right? Suppose machine learning algorithm, suppose if I selected the fintech, that is finance area, so I need to work on finance. Suppose if I selected the medical area, or we can say healthcare area, so I need to work on healthcare, right? So we need to identify the research area. Now once you identify the research area, then you have to design a research study. That means how you want to work on that particular area. That means you have to properly check out meticulously, you have to plan the research study. That means how we are going to do that particular study actually. Okay, once the proper planning drafted, then you have to work on how to carry out the research. That means how you have to carry out that research so that you will get a proper analysis, you will get the proper material for that particular research work. Next step is analysis research result. Analyze the research result. It means that whatever area you have identified, you have to do the deep analysis on that particular area so that you will get the results. That means when you analyze something, you will get some sort of a findings. It means that analysis is one of the best important thing that every paper required. It may be of your review paper or it may be of your empirical paper, because in review paper, so if you compare different papers or different algorithms, you will get some sort of a findings. Similarly, in case of an implementation based paper, in case of an empirical paper, suppose if you have applied some sort of a different methodologies or algorithms, so you will came to know, yes, X algorithm is better than the Y algorithm. It means that that is your analysis, right? Because if I apply two algorithms, X and Y algorithm, on a same data sets, right? So you will came to know, you will find out that particular X algorithm is having the good accuracy rather than the Y algorithm, right? So analysis always required. So after going through this four step, then last step is publishing a research paper. So publishing a research paper, it means that you are going to publish the research work. That means you are going to publish your findings through the conferences or through the journals. This is very much important, right? So if you want to work on the publications, or if you want to do some sort of a research work, so you have to work on this particular five step: identification of the research area, design the study, carry out the research, analysis of research work, and the last one is publication of your research work through the conferences or through IPR, or we can say through direct journal publications. So these five steps are very much important actually. After it, what are the areas in which we can publish the research paper? That is very much important. So there is no specific areas that you can identify. There are in any areas, you can select any areas that you can pick up the point on which particular area, on which particular subject you have to work, and just you have to work on that. You have to do the deep study on that particular work, and definitely you at the end you'll find a lot many what we can say study material with you, and you can draft a research paper related to that particular point. So that engineering and sciences, the person belongs to engineering and sciences, they can write the papers. Arts, the arts faculties or art student also can write the papers. Then humanities faculties, humanities student can also write the papers. Then you can also write the papers on religion. Suppose if we identified some sort of Hindu, then what we can say, there is a Buddhist, there is a Muslims community, there is a Christian community. There are different communities are there, religions are there. So under that religions also you can write, you can identify some sort of what we can say areas or some sort of a point. On that particular point you are going to write a paper, so that under the religions also you can write out the papers. Then under the management category you can write the papers. Then languages you can write the paper. Then education sectors, for education related you can write the paper. In healthcare you can write the paper. In fintech you can write the paper. So you can select, there are ample of areas from which you can select a single topic, and through that particular single topic you can write a research paper actually, right? So there is no foundation, there is no restrictions at all. So for finding the particular area, or you have find out the XYZ topic, and that topic is not belongs to the research work. So this would not be happen anywhere, because whenever you select a topic, that topic is having some sort of an insight into that. So you can select any topic for writing the research paper. So these are the different areas, not only listed areas on the screen. You can select any type of topic, you can select any topic, or any study material you can consider for writing a research paper. Now talking about the writing a review paper or a literature survey paper, that I have already explained you what do you mean by review and a literature survey paper. When we talked about the literature survey paper or a review paper, right? So whenever you work on the projects, so before implementation of the project work, right? Just I'm considering if I'm a student and I need to work on one particular project, what I'll do before directly implementations, I'll just go through the different surveys. I will just go through the different study materials which are already exist in the market, which are already exist on the www. So what I'll do the survey, I'll do the hard study on that, right? So after doing the study, I came to know, yes, lot many people are work on this particular topic, but the particular findings which I have identified, on which none of the student or none of the authors or none of the researcher have been worked, so on that particular topic I have to work. So it means that it is a literature, that means it means that a review. So what you did, you have gone through the different papers, you have done the different survey, right? You have done the different survey by visiting the particular organization, by visiting the particular areas, by visiting the particular website, that we have gathered lot many information. And after gathering the lot many information, you have done the comparison. After doing the comparison, you have identified some sort of a gap, and with that particular gap you are going to write the papers. It means that it is a review or a literature survey papers, right? So when you write a review or literature paper, there are some specific contents it is heavily required in your review paper, right? So while writing the review paper, the first and foremost thing is the very while writing any paper, the first and foremost thing is the title of the paper, author and affiliations. So whenever you write the paper, you have to draft a title first, right? So when you write a title, your title should be innovative, should be as simple as possible, and it will what we can say in title, each and every keyword or each and every word of your title should justify your work, whatever written under that particular paper. So like a way, you have to draft a title so anyone can read the title, the layman people also got understand, layman people also get understand what mean to say that particular paper is exactly, right? What you have written in that particular paper exactly. So anyone can just by reading the title, the person can should came to know what is the paper is written for exactly. Then after that, authors are required. It means that who is contributed in in your research work. So you can list out the different authors whosoever contributed in your research paper. It means that suppose if I'm a group of 5 students or 5 researchers that come together and they have worked on the same domain area, they have worked on the same problem statement. So there are multiple authors you can also augment in a one particular paper. After that, the affiliation means there are number of researcher, number of what we can say, number of scholars are writing a same paper. So what you have to do, what you'll do, you have to that means that every researcher or every scholar is belongs to somehow the other ways at a different institute. So the affiliation matters a lot, that affiliations indicate the author belongs to. It means that suppose if I belongs to XYZ institute or a organization, so my affiliation is my institute, right? So title, authors and affiliation, this is a very first and foremost requirement of your review paper or any research paper. Then you have to draft the abstract summary, right? So basically what it means abstract, so I especially suggest you just draft the paper and at last you have to draft the abstract. Why? Because once you prepare the complete paper and after gone through each and everything, you have to at last you have to write the abstract. It means that when you write the abstract, it is a short summary of a complete paper, where abstract contain the purpose, objective, scope, conclusion and limitation of your research work actually. So whenever you publish the paper, so most of the time author focus on your title and abstract only, right? Because when the XYZ author read your abstract, so abstract will give a clear understanding why this paper is written for, what is the purpose of writing this paper, what are the objectives of this writing the paper, what are the technologies used in this paper, what are the methodologies or algorithm used in this paper, and what are its applications. So everything will be drafted concisely in the abstract, and abstract should not be more than 200 words. It is a restrictions, right? So many of the journal accept it up to 250 words, but I'll suggest that you don't go beyond the 250 words. So abstract, it is a short summary which gives a conciseness, which gives a detail, or we can say brief study in a very concise manner, right? So the authors can read out it and he or she may get the complete history of your paper within the 200 words, right? Then after you to write a keywords. So keywords are the words which are the majorly important words in your research work. that whenever you just take an example, when you Google it particular thing, suppose if I want to find out the notes on C++, so what I'll do, I'll put on my search bar notes on C++, right? So the papers or the books or etc the study material which the authors has mentioned the C++ or word is notes mention C++, so that all the links will be shown to you, right? So it means that the searching will be based on keywords only. So while writing the abstract or a complete paper, so you have to find out the keywords, so that whenever the keywords are used by a researcher for finding some sort of a study material, so your paper should come up first actually, right? So it means that you have to identify such a type of keywords so that the searching will be done on your searching will be done on the basis of keywords only, so that your paper may be referred by the number of researcher or the number of scholar for their own research work. Then a review of literature or thematic discussion. Basically what it means, a review of literature. So while writing the literature survey, so suppose if I want to draft a paper, if I want to write a paper on say suppose cancer detection, so what I'll do, I'll find out the paper based on cancer detection. I'll Google it, and I'll put just give a prompt that kindly find the paper based on cancer detections, right? So you will get the lot many links. The lot many researchers has been already work on cancer detection, so you'll get lot many work. So what you have to do, so your work is you have to download all the papers, you have to read out the abstract of each and every paper, the result and discussion and the future scope of each and every paper, so that you will have the clear understanding by reading each and every paper. Yes, XYZ researcher has wrote this paper, he has mentioned in this paper XYZ algorithm he has used, XYZ results he has got, right? So likewise, suppose if you have downloaded the 100 papers, that means you have a study of 100 papers, right? So you came to know that 100 researchers are work on the cancer detection, right? So after doing the literature survey, you came to know yes, all the authors have has been work on this, but you have identified some sort of a lacunas, you have identified some sort of a research gap. Yes, all authors has been work on this particular area, but I have been find out some sort of a gap. That gap I need to fulfill, that gap I need to, oh, that is for the gap, whatever gaps which I have been identified, I need to work on that. I need to find out some sort of a result, or what I can say, I need to work on that gap by applying some sort of a new algorithms, or I have to use some sort of a mixture of algorithm for increasing the accuracy, or so for example, suppose if the one particular problem statement is identification of cancer detection, but I have used the suppose random forest algorithm, but while applying the random forest algorithm, the accuracy of the cancer detection is low. But you have identified, yes, you have used the ensemble learning, right? But when you apply your algorithm on the same data or on the same problem statement, and your accuracy level is very high, it means that you have identified that gap, that the XYZ author has identified, XYZ author has used this XYZ algorithm and he got this type of a result. But in my paper, but in my implementation, I have used this algorithm and I got that much of accuracy. It means that your algorithm or your work is more superior in comparison with the researcher or the author which have been already published research work, right? So likewise, you have to do the literature survey. That means you have to do the survey, you have to read the different sort of papers and come up with the ideas, come up with some sort of findings, right? Then the problem statement, it is a critical analysis itself. Actually, it is your identifications, what you have identified after going through the different 10 or 20 or 30 papers, right? So that means the problem statement, that means you have to identify the gaps. That means the what the author has already done and what the author haven't done till now. So that means your problem statement. Then a proposed system. So basically what it means, a proposed system, once you identified the gap, once you identified the problem statement, now your work is the proposed system. Proposed system is, now I am proposing the new system, right, for identified problem or for identified the gaps, right? So it means that now I am proposing my own system. I can use my this proposed system for getting such a kind of output, such a kind of better output, right? That means propose. So what you are going to propose, right? That means how you are going to achieve your problem statement, how you are going to provide solution to your problem statement. That means your proposed system, right? Called as a proposed system. After the expected outcome means once you complete your work, once you complete your analysis, once you done with your research survey, once you identified your proposed system, and finally you have to write the proposed expected outcome. That means that you haven't implemented anything else right now, right? But you can expect it. Yes, after doing this, I got such a type of accuracy in terms of what we can say in terms of results actually, right? So means expected outcome, what you are expecting after implementation of this, that means the expected outcome or the results. And finally you have to write on a conclusion and a future directions. That means you have to conclude it. Yes, I have work or I have done this type of a work on this particular area, and these are the things which I can use or I can implement in my future actually. So you have to replicate it. You have to define your conclusion and future directions. So what you have achieved and what you have to achieve in future. That two things you need to conclude in a conclusion sections. And last one is the references for writing this particular paper. So how many references, how many papers you have been referred, how many books you have been referred, how many websites you have been referred, that all of these things you need to specify. So all these things, all these points are heavily important for writing the review or literature paper. That all the points it should be considered whenever you write whenever you write a literature or the review paper, right? Now coming to the empirical paper or experimental paper. So what content the empirical paper required? Now talking about the experimental paper or empirical paper, right? So every paper required a title, authors and affiliation that that I have already explained in the previous slide. Right? The same content is required in the review paper also. Abstract is also required for experimental paper, then keyword. Then we require the introduction, that is brief introduction of your paper. Then review of literature, thematic discussion, it is optional, right? So if your experimental paper is there, so adding the literature survey or adding the thematic discussion, it is not mandatory, but you can add it. You may add it in your papers as well while you are writing the experimental paper. It is optional. Problem statement you can write, because on the whatever problems, whatever gaps you have been identified, for that particular problem statement you are writing the paper. For that particular problem statement you are finding the results, right? So you need to write about the problem statement or the critical analysis. Proposed system you can write. Then after that you can include a methodology, which methodologies you are going to use for the experimental analysis. Suppose if you are using some machine learning algorithm, if you are using some cyber security related things, suppose if you are using some cloud computing related things, so which type of methodology, which type of algorithms, which type of proposed system, which type of methodologies or methods you are going to use for implementation of this particular techniques, right? So you have to specify the methodology. After that, result and discussion, that means whatever methodologies you are applying on certain data sets, on certain raw data, so whatever results come up, that you have to discuss in the result and discussion sections. That means, for example, if you have applied, if you have a data set with more than 1 GB data you are having, right, and you are working on cancer detections, right? So you have to specify, yes, I have applied the random forest algorithm and I got this much of result, right? This is my accuracy, this is my precision, this is my ROC AOC curve. That likewise you have to set a different parameters, and according to that parameters you're going to show the result in the form of graphs, right? So graph which shows the actual figures or actual results in the graphical formats, right? After that, the conclusion and the future direction. So you can include a conclusion, that means how much accuracy you got, how much precision value you got. So all of these things you have to specify in the conclusion and the future direction. And under the future direction, you have to specify in future what I can or I may do in the existing research work. And the last one is the references. So you need to specify the list of reference paper. That reference paper are you that That means whenever you write the literature or whenever you write a paper, so you need to specify, you need to cite the data where you have taken it from exactly, right? So you have to specify the references, right? So for writing the particular paper, which paper you have considered as a research paper, right? So you at last every paper consists of a different resources actually, right? So these are the content of experimental paper, or we can say empirical paper. Hope everyone understood these things, right? Now, how to write a title in a research paper? That is very much important. Title is a very base of every paper, right? So many of the journals, or whenever you put your paper on the conferences publication and journal publication, the reviewer or the committee will just maximum time focus on your title, and your title always should be innovative. So your title may should include the main topic, that is key element. It should include the main topic, methods oblique approaches, and the application area. So, and after that, keep short. You can keep your title as short as possible. That is, it maximum it should include 10 to 15 words only. Avoid the unnecessary words like an investigation of, a detailed study of. Likewise, that is a unnecessary words, you have to remove it. After that, use of formal and academic languages. You have to use a simple language. You have to avoid the symbols and abbreviation. You don't write the abbreviation while writing the titles. Use title case, that is capitalize main words only. Then for example, a review of blockchain framework for decentralized application, that is one of the example. It is very concise title. It is a review of blockchain framework, because I'm using a blockchain and I'm going to create a framework for decentralized application. So this is a very much clear. That means whenever the person read your title, so that person easily understood the things what actually written under that particular papers. So that's why the title is very much important, and you have to write the title in such a way that the user or the any layman person can easily understand things, and it should keep as small as possible, right? How to write the authors and affiliation? So orders of the authors and authors affiliation is very much important. So the first authors always should be the main contributor. Suppose if we have a 5 authors in one paper, the first author always should be a main contributor, right? So second and subsequent author are listed, or we can say it is a co-authors actually. So while author naming, we have to write the full names, no initial unless the journal allows. So when you write the, suppose for example, my name is Jagdish Pimple, so I need to specify Jagdish Pimple in the superset of 1, right? In the suffix of 1 I need to write, right? It means that I am the first author. So if my co-author is there, so I need to give the second, and third author I have to give a third. Likewise, you need to write a author or the sequence of author. Then we need to write a affiliation of every author. But suppose in my paper the 3 authors are having the same affiliation, so you don't write the author affiliation separately for author wise, right? You have to write the affiliation of the author depends on the organization. Suppose if we are having the 5 authors, and out of 5 the 3 authors belongs to the same organization, so it means that for 3 authors the affiliation would be same. So how you write 1 comma 2 comma 3 department of so and so, suppose say so and so, the college name is so and so. Likewise you have to specify, right? But if 5 authors are the 5 authors belongs to the 5 different organizations, so you need to write the different affiliations for the different authors. That means you need to specify the 5 affiliations for the 5 different authors. Then corresponding authors if required, so it is marked with the asterisk symbol. So asterisk symbol represent the corresponding author actually. So for example, just you can see this particular example, that is deep learning power traffic analysis, YOLO 7 and deep sort integration in smart vision traffic. It is a concise title of the particular research paper, and you can say these are the different authors of my paper. So here you can see there is a 5 authors: Jagdish, Mohit, Deepmala, Kajal, Rutuja and Shruti, and all are having the same affiliation. So what I have written 1 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6, these are 5 authors belongs to the same organization, say Department of IT, St. Vincent Political College of Engineering. But in case of second author, the second author affiliation is different. He belongs to the some other organization. So what I've written, second author belongs to School of Computer Science and Technology, Bennett University, Greater Noida, right? And the corresponding author is supposed to J. Pimple at ST Vincent NGPin and .edu.in. So likewise, you have to write the title and the affiliations. Then how to write an abstract? So your, I have already explained you, your abstract should not be goes more than 250 words. That is 150 to 250 words. It depends on the terms and conditions of journals and this and the conferences also, right? So according to that, you have to draft the abstract. So when you write the abstracts, so you have to clearly mention the problems, objective, methodology, results, and conclusion oblique application. So all of four these things you should include in a 150 to 250 words. So your abstract should be as simple as possible, and it should include everything, right? Why you are writing, what are the objective, what are the methodologies, what you are getting, what are your results, and what are your conclusion and applications. So all of these things are comes under in the abstracts. Now abstract writing tips: use past tense for the work done, because when we write a paper, so we write the paper basis on our past experiences or the past references of the different paper. So whenever we draft the abstracts, you write the abstract in the past tense only. Avoid the references, figure, and equations under the abstract. You cannot write, you never write it references, figure, and equations. You have to avoid the abbreviations. You and your abstract should be precise and technical, and do not include the citations under the abstract. We never include the citations, right? This is actually the simple example of abstract. Just you can see that abstract, it is clearly mentioned what I'm using, what I need to do, why I'm going to do, what are its application, what are its results, and what are its applications. So everything is mentioned within the 150 to 250 words actually, right? So likewise you have to draft the abstract. Now how to write a keywords? So you need to find out at minimum 4 and maximum 6 keywords separated by the commas, and these keywords are very important words which reflect your paper on the top when we search the paper on the Google, right? So keyword plays a very vital role. So you need to identify some good keywords, some very important keywords from your paper, and that words will be written under the keyword section, and every keyword is separated by the comma. Then what is a literature survey? A literature survey is a critical summary of previous studies related to your topics. It shows what work has already been done, what methods were used, and what limitations exist. Your work fits a research gap. That means you need to you need to gone through the different papers which has already exist. You have to read out it, you have to find out the research gap, right? And after finding the research gap, you have to do the comparative analysis. So likewise you have to do the literature survey. So while writing the literature survey, you don't miss to give a citation. That means whenever data you have taken from the different papers, so you have to give a credit to the paper author only. So you have to give citations in a square bracket. Suppose if the one particular paragraph or one particular, suppose say statement I have taken from the first reference, so I have to write in square bracket, that is 1, right? So likewise you have to give a citations, or you have to give a credits to the papers which you have included in your research work. Then reading a scientific paper, whenever you read the scientific paper, so you have to be active, not passive reading. Read with attention and involvement, not mechanically, right? So you have to read the paper in active form, not in passive form. Use the highlighter to highlight something, some statement, or we can say some major keywords or major statement, and so that whenever you read out that paper, so you can came to know, yes, this particular paper has focus on this, right? Then if at the first you don't understand, read, and if in a while reading the paper in a very first attempt you don't understand anything else, so you require the rereading also, right? So you have to reread the paper, right, in a number of iterations, then and then you will understand the paper. Otherwise, if you think in a very first reading I need to understand everything, it is not being possible. Then the famous duck rabbit ambiguous image. Suppose you can see just image displayed on the screen. If you see on the other side, it will look like as a rabbit, and another side it will look like as a duck, right? So whenever the person read your paper, right, the person will, whenever person will read your paper, so he will that what we can say, after reading the paper, the assumption is of the particular person is only, right, what he is taking actually, right? Just for this particular example, when the person saw this particular image, someone can say this is a image of rabbit, but someone can say this is the image of duck as well, right? So it depends, the perception matters a lot, person to person, the perception varies person to person, right? The how that person will be taking your paper in what way, right? So while talking about the research, so every person will take a different things or take a different assumption from your paper. It depends on their perceptions only, right? So don't bother about that. So whenever the person will read out your paper, right, so how he is taking your paper, how the person will take the ideas of your paper in his own perception, so it may different person to person actually, right? So it is a very much precise, and what we can say, it is a very much clear example of duck and rabbit image, right? Then the other part of paper is problem statement, proposed system, methodology, result and discussion, conclusion, and references. These things are very much important. Problem statement, proposed system, methodology, because problem statement is a critical analysis, proposed system, methodology. Then we need to include a result and discussion. That means what results you got, that you have to explain result and discussion section. Then you have to write down a conclusion and the future direction, and at last you have to write down a references. Then way of publications, you can publish your research paper through the conferences or through the direct journal. So when you will go through the paper, when you put your paper for the conference, so it means that you have to register for the that means you have to submit the paper for the conference. The conference team will review your paper. If the paper is required some sort of a changes, then you will get a review. You have to improve the paper, then again resubmit the paper, and you have to present the paper in front of the panelist. But in journal, what you have to do, you have to submit the paper. The journal review team will be gone through the different screening process, and after that, if they've identified some sort of a changes or identified some sort of a what we can say, upgradation in your paper, so they will suggest you. And they will suggest you, and then after you have to improve your paper and again resubmit to the journal. If now journal requirement is fulfilled, then your paper get published in the journals directly without giving any sort of presentation in front of the panelist. Then paper publication steps, there are certain steps we need to follow. The first of all, we have to submit the paper. Then once you submit the paper, the author will wait for the decision that you received from the conference team, or we can say a journal, what we can say, from conference team or a journal people, right? So once you got a decision in terms of, suppose say, review decision, in terms of suppose the conference member or the review team will suggest you some sort of a changes, right? So if the changes came, you need to rectify your paper, you have to improve your paper, and again you have to submit the papers for the publications. So some of the publications are the paid publication and some of the publications are the free publications, right? So it depends on that. If the publications are paid, you need to pay some sort of amount. If the publications are unpaid, so you don't have to pay any amount, right? So when you publish a paper through the conference, so you need to pay the conference's fees actually, right? But talking about a journal, in case of a journal, there are free journal publications is also there, and paid journal publication is also there, right? So you require the fast publication, so obviously you have to go with the paid journal publication. But if you have a time for publication, right, you don't have an hurry for the publication, right, so you can go with the unpaid publications as well. Then things to be remembered for the paper publications, that plagiarism, right? When you write the paper, nowadays everyone is going to use the chat GPTs and all, right? So or suppose if, for example, the people are going to copy the content from the other papers as well, right? So before putting your paper into the conferences or the journals, first of all you have to make your paper plagiarism free, and your plagiarism count should be below 10%, right? And AI content detection should be a 0, right? So you don't have to write the paper with the AI, right? You have to write the paper at your own, even though you are using the AI, or using the AI tool for writing the papers, but you have to humanize each and every content you have taken it from the AI. Because what happens whenever you take the content from the GPT and you will check the content for the plagiarism, it will shows the 0%, or it will be of negligence amount of plagiarism count. But when it comes to the AI content, so it will show the 100% AI detection, right? In this case, what you have to do, you have to use some sort of a AI content humanizer that will humanize your content, that will flag free your content for the publication point of view, right? So while putting your paper in the publication or the journal publication or for the conference publication, so these two things are very much important. Then indexing, it is one of the part of publication, because whenever we publish the paper, that you need to think, you have to select the paper conferences, you have to select a journal in such a way that that journal should be in the reputed indexing databases, right? So that for research publication there is a standard databases which contain the different and different, what we can say, a different indexing databases like Scopus, Web of Science, PubMed, IEEE Explorer, Google Scholar, and right. These are a different databases of indexing. Whenever we publish a paper, so our paper will get indexed in such a type of databases. So these are the highly recommendable or acceptable indexes. Nowadays, what happened? The many of the journals are there. They are not even though publish your paper on Google Scholar, right? So while selecting the journals or selecting the conferences, just first check whether your paper get indexed in which database. So these are the very important things. Then top AI tool for research paper writing, you can use Writeful, you can use ChatGPT, you can use Quillbolt, you can use Grammarly, Trinka, Swide, Jenny, Writeful, and Trinka. Okay, so these are the different tools that you can take a help of this tool, but don't take completely, or don't take the content from these all of this tool and just directly put it into the paper, and that paper you are going to submit for a journal. Definitely your AI detection counter should be high, right? So even though you are taking the content from the LLMs, or what we can say GPTs or AI tools, you need to humanize the content, right? And then you can put your paper for the publications, right? So all of these things are from my side, right? So with this, hope every participant gain some sort of a knowledge about the research paper writing, right? So with this I stop here. So any questions, so please ask me. The forum is open for everyone. If any questions related to paper writing, you please ask me.
So I have a question.
Yes, please.
So you said that some publications are free and some publications are
Paid.
paid. Yes.
Yes.
Can you name a few renowned publications and name which are free and which are not?
Yeah. What you have to do, madam? Actually, it's a very good question, because you can, when you Google it, just Google it, that unpaid publications, you get lot many links, right? But when you see the paid publication, just go through the Scopus websites, right? Where lot many journal already listed, right? So you have to select a one particular journal and see their APC charges, right? If the APC charges are zero, that means article processing charges are zero, it means that the unpaid publication. And where APC charges are mentioned, it means that journal is a paid publication, right? But while searching the unpaid publication, or we can say paid publications, right? You please remember the things. Unpaid publication will take more and more days to publish your paper, right? It will take a more time, right? Because for unpaid publication to complete the review process, it will goes days and days. That means it will goes almost a 6 months to year for getting the reviews, right? but
Okay.
but at the same time, if the journal is paid journal, right, so your paper, you got a chance your paper get published in a very stipulated time. That means your paper may get published in a 2 to 3 months actually, right? But when you are going for unpaid publications, so you have you require the patience. Your patience required, it matters a lot, because as we are in a hurry to publish our paper, right? Suppose if the target is given by your institute or by your suppose a guide, that you have to publish your paper within a 2 months or 3 months, right? And you are trying for
Right.
the unpaid publication. So unpaid publication, it is not been possible to publish the paper in 2 to 3 months, right? It will take a year, it will take a 2 2 years, right? Because the paper is that publication is unpaid, and that unpaid publication required high quality papers only, right? In case of paid publications, there are some of the other ways little bit that flexibility in your hand, right? So because it is a paid publication, because they are taking the charges from your sites, right? So there is a high chance to publish your paper in a very what we can say, in a very small duration of time, right? So for selection of the journal, just you can google it, right? And you need to find out the paper. There are lot many journals are there, right? So IEEE transaction journal, many times it is free, right? You can go for that, and the transactions paper are very highly quality papers only published under the IEEE transactions areas, right? So there are lot many journals are there that you can identify it, right?
Okay, sir, thank you so much for your information. But I actually wanted to know some, can you name a few uh, names which are best for publications, in
That
spite of being free or paid?
I'll tell you. Just you can see. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Google. Just I'm searching free and paid. You can see there are lot many no APC journal that you can see.
Okay.
Just you can see that free list of Springer journal. Many times what happened is when you put your paper for Springer journal, na, even though your paper is not up to the mark, the Springer will tell you which journal is suitable for your paper. That is a very good thing for
All right.
Springer journal actually. So you can see there are lot many journals are there.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, right. Lot many
That
journals
was
are there.
very
Yeah.
grateful, good information.
Yeah. So what you have to do, madam, even though when you put the paper for the Springer, na, so what the Springer will do, even our paper is not up to the mark for that particular journal. For example, that health associate, that first number paper, journal, that journal of the
Egyptian
Egyptian Public
Publication
Health
Health
Association, right?
Association.
So when you put the paper for this journal, right? Now, and the suppose for your paper is not up to the mark for this particular journal. So what the
Hmm.
Springer will suggest you the other journal as well that are listed under the Springer category, right? So that is a good
Hmm.
thing with Springer, right? So likewise, you have to find out the journals,
All right. Thank you.
right? Okay, all right. Thank you, madam. Hope I have clear with your doubts.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions? Hope all the participant at least got some sort of an insight about the research paper writing, right? So thank you SKRGC Academy for giving me this opportunity to interact with the participants, and thanks to participants for patient listening. So with this, thank you each and everyone. Have a nice time ahead. Sir, please.
You too, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It was a wonderful session, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, all the participants. Your certificates will be distributed tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.